What's up, friends? It's time for another Guardian Tales video, and today we are talking about the top 10 arena units. Arena, not Coliseum, it's just arena. Now, first off, disclaimer, because I know some of you are going to be like, Bailey, you don't know anything about arena, you're not late game enough. I know I don't know anything about arena. That's why we're going off of data. So this is not based on my opinion. This is based on data that I've collected about the most used units, mostly on global server. However, there is some information on Dark Magician Beth. I figured let's include her. She's already on Korea server. She's not on global just yet at the time that I'm making this video, but she's going to be available very, very soon. So let's include her in this because she is a tremendous part of the Korean. If you play on Korean server, you're like, yes, she is. Yes, she absolutely is a tremendous part of the Korean meta. She's a fantastic unit. I'm definitely excited to summon for her. I hope that it doesn't drain all of my gems, but definitely excited to summon for her. But yeah, this is not based on my opinion. This is based on data, mostly from global, and some Dark Magician Beth from the Korea server. Now, a couple things that I want to go over before we get it started is just a brief information on what makes a good arena unit. If you guys are new, sustainability of some kind, like a heal, shield, defense up, etc. Instead of just being squishy and has no kind of support, like self-supporting kind of skills. A good lone wolf potential, like a solo unit, like in any game, it's something that can solo things. These units, the units that have the same skills that can solo things, are also good units for arena here. Team players like healers or supports are not great, so like Aoba, not really a great unit for arena. Some kind of ranged attack or ult, especially one that can go through obstacles, is also very much preferred. So without further dudes, let's get it started. Number 10 on the list, and to be honest, not really worth talking about too much because her utilization is only 3%. So the top ranks of global server are only 3% are using her, which doesn't necessarily mean that she's bad. It just means that she's less, like any little bit of efficiency is going to be massive, and those people are going to gravitate towards any little bit of efficiency that they can get. If one unit is a little bit better, then they're going to go with the unit that's a little bit better instead of Bianca. Now, Bianca's going to be fine to climb if you're not in the top ranks, right? If you have if you have her exclusive or something like that, then it's going to, I'm sure, be great to climb with. Or if you just really like using her, then screw the whole tier list, right? But as far as like extra efficiency, a lot of the time in the top ranks, they just want that extra little, if something's a little bit better, then they're definitely always going to use that unit. Or not definitely, most of the time, always going to use that unit. Again, it's 3%, so at least 3% are using her. Of course, more people using her, the lower ranks you get, but this is based on the top. Also, just something to note, it's a little bit more popular on Korea, but not really that much. And another thing is, this should really be only like a top 7 list because 8, 9, and 10 have almost no utilization, right? It's like under 10% utilization because there's 7 that are like definitely like everyone's gravitating towards these 7 arena units. I should just clickbait title the everyone's gravitating toward these 7 units for Guardian Tales Arena. But anyway, this is Bianca. Not really much to talk about. She does have some, I know I mentioned sustain. She does have some sustain here with the ice field skill. But she's not a bad unit. She's just not as efficient in arena as some of the other ones. Still good, just only number 10 on the list. Number 9 on the list, and again, 5% utilization does not really seem too exciting, but we're thinking about like the top levels of arena. That 5%, actually, the lower you go, the much more utilized it actually will be, the much more effective it will be against your opponents in the lower levels. And again, the top levels of arena, like there's a specific different meta than, and they're like, the top level of arena is like, they'll just wail for whatever units. They'll just make sure that they get whatever units and use whatever is the best units. However, the lower you go, the more they're just using whatever they have, whatever they were lucky enough to summon, whatever's the more popular units in the rest of the game that they just happen to build for other things that they will also use in arena. So these things get more effective the lower you go, even if it's only 5% effectiveness or 5% utilization in the top of arena. But some of the nice things about Vishuvak is good unit against Barry because it's strong against Earth, and also it has good mobility, right? So it's good against that. And then also, I don't have Vishuvak myself. Maybe I'll try to get Vishuvak at some point. There's other things that I really want first, though. I'm not gonna lie. There's other things that I really want first. 5% utilization. Like, yeah, Bagel, we can figure that out. Special ability Fire Predilection. Damage inflicted on enemies that are not fire type increases by 25%. Okay, there's a lot of non-fire type enemies. That's great. But it's a double-edged sword, right? Damage inflicted on fire type enemies decreases by 25%. So we think about this double-edged sword. However, currently in the arena meta, not really a very strong fire dominance meta, right? So it almost doesn't have that other edge of the double-edged sword, right? You don't see like Mia in arena or anything, right? So yeah, that's Vishuvak, again a unit that I do not have at 5% utilization in the top ranks. Nothing really too crazy, but yeah, that's number 9. Number 8 on list, Garam the Nine-Tailed Fox. Now he's got 5% utilization for the top ranks in global. However, it's a little bit higher on Korea. That's why I put him at 8 instead of 9, even though technically they're both like the same on him and Vishuvak are both the same on global. It's a little bit more, he's a little bit more popular in Korea. Another thing is when you're looking at this, you're like, okay, arena Garam, 5% utilization. Oh, I just summoned on him. I just got him. This is for arena. Also, he's still good in arena. He's still in the top 10, right? Still good in arena. Coliseum, he's much better. Coliseum, he's much better. He just sits in the back, spray and pray. He has his skill, Sorcery. Let's take a little bit of a look at his skills. Sorcery inflicts damage with either bow or basket, restores party members' HP. So he's got some sustain. Remember what we said at the beginning, range units and sustain. His exclusive, oh man, I really wish I got it as exclusive. I mean, it's still, the time I'm currently recording this, it's still available on the banner, but I know in my, I'm like, I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to get that. But I really want his exclusive weapon is so, it's a big difference. It really is. So that's why I want his exclusive weapon. So yeah, we have the sustain. He shoots through walls. He's ranged unit. The things that we mentioned at the beginning, which makes him a great unit for here and for Coliseum too, and for a lot of other places in the game. And then if he has a bow equipped, he does extra damage. If he has a basket equipped, he does extra heals. I don't really see too many people using him with a basket. Yeah, I always just see people using him with a bow. But he's a fantastic unit for arena. He's also a fantastic unit for Coliseum. Number 7 on the list, and now we're starting to see the higher utilization numbers. 19% utilization in the top ranks of global server, movie star Eugene. I was actually a little bit surprised on 19% utilization for movie star Eugene. Again, another unit that I don't personally have. We're going to see as a recurring theme of units that I don't personally have. I know you guys think that I summon like every unit under the sun. I'm like, in real life, I'm like, nah, I got like a third of the uniques maybe. Not really that much. But anyway, movie star Eugene, 19% utilization. So she has good mobility, which is one of the things for her. I don't have her, so I can't give too much information on her. She does have, however, her special ability on hit, well, which means when she hits one of the enemies, range defense and move speed increases. And again, ranged attacks are very strong in arena. And move speed increases. Mobility is fantastic in arena too, so very important. And she's got some sustain, which we mentioned before. Sustain is important. Like even any sustain of any kind is important, even if it's not crazy sustain. So another thing that, again, I don't have her, so I can't comment too much about this, but from what I am told, her exclusive weapon is ranged attacks. So that's another big bonus for her. So apparently the exclusive weapon is very important for her. I do not personally have her or her exclusive weapon, so I can't really comment too much, but she is 19% utilization for movie star Eugene. This blew my mind. Marina number 6, 31% utilization. Because in my mind, I'm like, Marina's top 3, obviously. And then I'm going through the data, and I'm like, Marina's not top 3? That seems very odd. So a couple things to note, a couple asterisks beside her being the number 6 on the list is number 1 is number 5 is actually just barely above her. Another asterisk is she's actually more popular on the Korea server, so on the Korea server she would be higher as well. Another asterisk that I want to point out is that Beth, who is not in the game yet, or not on global yet, I'm sorry, not on global yet, at the time that I'm recording this, is actually above her. Spoiler, right? We kind of figured that from what I said at the beginning. Beth is above her, so if this was done a week ago on Korea server, she would be number 4. So just food for thought that she would actually be higher if this was like, you know, we could go on Korea server, but it's not a we could go on Korea server. Anyway, Marina, number 6 on list. It's to feel weird saying 6 on list Marina because she's a fantastic unit. Tanky bruiser, very tanky, very tanky, very bruisery. She's got a hook that's a little bit of a ranged attack, and then she also has her AoE that does a bunch of damage in a circle around her. I think she's a fantastic unit. I wasn't too excited when I first pulled her, but as I showed in the beginning, I've been trying to upgrade Marina. The more I play with her, the more I enjoy her playstyle, the more I enjoy using her. So to me, she's higher personally. She's higher on the list for me, but it's not about what I think. It's about the actual data. But if you guys rate her higher, if you guys think she's better, then we think together on that one. So anyway, that's number 6 on the current tier, but not tier list, on the current list. However, remember that Beth is on this list and she's not out on global yet. So number 5 on the list is Bari. You see she's only 1 point above Marina, right? I mean, you see this. It's only 1 point above Marina, and again, on Korea's server, it'll be a different situation. Also, I'm sure someone has mentioned in the comments already as I'm explaining this, they're like, Bega, you blah, 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 blah. I forgot to mention that actually if we go here, we can check the exclusive weapon for all of these units. As I was talking about Eugene earlier, we can actually check the stuff on the exclusive weapons just by going to the exclusive weapon button. And I do also know that some of those little icons on progress are triggering people. I've been on the internet before. It's not my first rodeo. I was gonna do a video on those. That's why I didn't collect them yet. But I'm aware of those progress icons. I did not forget to collect them. It's intentional because I was gonna do a video on something. Anyway, Bari, fantastic. She does so much crazy, ridiculous amount of damage, and it's all range. One of the things that I don't like about, because I personally have Bari, I personally use her, I love her. Damage is fantastic. Ult is fantastic. If the enemies close in, if the enemies do a great job of closing in, like we mentioned some of the units before, do a great job closing in on Bari, it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks, but as long as she can keep that distance, as long as she can keep that range, she just keeps throwing just crazy amount of damage. Even off screen, the enemies don't even have to be on the screen. Even off screen, just blast a crazy, ridiculous amount of damage. Sometimes the enemy has like a sizable amount of health, and she just throws a little blast off screen, and it's like, you win, and then the wind pops up, and I'm like, oh, damn. Okay, Barry, GG, there we go. But Barry, not really surprising to anyone that she's very high on the list. Fantastic unit, rage unit, goes through everything, can kill from not even being on the screen. However, the downside to her is units that have high mobility that can come in and close the gap and attack her head on. And she's a little slow too. When she's charging her skill, but she's still 32%. And again, I believe she's used a little bit less on the Korea server, and Marina's a little bit higher on the Korea server, and also that the new Beth is on this list too. Number 4 on the list, 51% utilization in the top levels of Arena, which is very high utilization. I mean, you see that there's some that are very, like, they're just everyone, well, maybe not everyone, but half the people in the top levels of Arena are using Nari the 8-tailed fox. Again, unit that I do not have, a unit that I very much want. So she is similar to Bari, in my opinion, that she is a ranged unit that blasts things from far away. Her projectiles go over, they go through things. And she's got like 9 million, it always feels like anytime I go up against her, I'm like, crap, it's Nari again. Oh, it's Nari again. It feels like she's got like 9 million projectiles at the same time. So, again, a unit that I do not have. And another thing, Foxtail Defense, which I didn't really pay too much attention since I don't have her and I didn't really pay attention to some of these things. On hit, which means when she hits you, when she hits the enemy, when she hits me, right? When she hits the enemy, defense increases up to by 8% for 8 seconds. Effects can overlap up to 8 times, so 64% extra defense. That is not bad. That is not bad. And another nice thing, her versus Barry, Nari versus Barry, is she's got more mobility than Barry, because Barry can get a little bit slow at times, which is one of the downsides to her. So Nari I actually do like for her mobility. There's pros and cons to each one, but Nari is used 51%. Again, this is on global server, 51%. But she's still popular on Korea server as well. But 51% of utilization in the top ranks. And one of my most wanted units currently. There's like 4, I think, that I really want. Number 3 on the list, Future Princess, and we knew she was going to be top 3 somewhere, right? We already knew she was going to be top 3 somewhere. 66% of teams in global server are using her in the top levels of Arena. Fantastic unit, super OP unit, tanky, does damage, does range damage, has her skill. Let me read the exact chain skill dimensional breaker stats. I do love. She does a lot of damage with her. Okay, her special attack. She does a lot of damage with her special attack. I use her with a shield though. But there's a couple different ways that you can use her. You can use her with or without a shield. Makes her play a little bit differently though. So creates a barrier for all party members that negates the damage of 3 hits from enemies for 20 seconds and restores HP by 10%, which is, remember what we talked about with the sustain. So she's like a tanky bruiser that also has some range, that also has some sustain. So, fantastic unit. I don't play her as well as she needs to be played. There's definitely way better people that using Future Princess. It's like the understatement of the year. But I'm not quite utilizing her to her maximum potential is what I mean. Like, I've started to like understand how Marina's kind of played, but I still have to learn a little bit more on the strategies behind Future Princess. But yeah, number 3 on the list, 66% utilization in the highest levels of Arena. That means that the new unit that's currently already out on Korea, but not quite out on global yet, going to be out on global soon, is one of the top 2 units. Number 2 on the list, a unit that is not even out on global server yet. This is based on information from the Korea server, Dark Magician Beth. Oh my god, she's in like almost every team in the top levels of Korea server. So let's talk a little bit about Dark Magician Beth. She is a melee unit. She does close range damage. However, she also has a chain skill that does range damage. Increase her melee attack by 40% for 8 seconds. 400% range damage. Increases melee attack by 40% for 8 seconds. Also, she has a special ability, Battle Instinct. Depending on the number of enemies within 3 tiles, attack increases up by 15% up to 60%, and negates incoming damage by 15% up to 60%. So, in addition to that, so she's a melee close range DPS unit. She has some range damage, and she also and she does a lot of damage, right? And she also has exclusive weapon that gives her a shield of 10% of the damage dealt. So she does a lot of damage with her normal attack though. With her normal attack. So she just attacks with the normal attack, does a lot of damage, keeps getting that shield. So very nasty. 68% of the teams on the top of Korea server. Again, I can't get any data from the global server just yet because she's not actually out on here yet. But she is very popular in the Korea server right now. Very popular, very OP. Dark Magician Beth, I'm sure try to. Of course, she's so OP. Of course, I have to try to pull for her, right? And then we'll test her out in different areas and see how good she is in different areas of the game. Even though Korea server is already doing that, they're already one step ahead of us. Thanks, Korea server. But very, very OP unit. And that leaves just number 1 on the list of Agma, which I was very, like, I know he's great. I actually wanted him so much. Buying again another unit that I don't have. But I'm surprised to see him at number 1 on the list. 79% of teams on global server in the top of Arena are using Agma. I mean, he's a great tank. He's got reflect damage. He also has some sustain with his defense up over here. Tactical shield taunts enemies around defense, increases by 50% for 3 seconds. He also has some range on his multiple rockets to inflict range damage with 240% of DPS. Decrease enemies attack for 10% by 10% for 15 seconds. And then, in my opinion, like I get why he's so great in Coliseum. I just was not expecting, because based on his passive special ability, but that really doesn't come to play in Arena. So I'm like thinking, really, Agma number 1 in 79% of teams? He's a tanky bruiser. He's got some sustain on him. I was surprised to see him at number 1, to be honest. I was expecting other things, but again, I'm just going by the data. 79% of teams, and we'll see this actually change. A couple things to note, though. We'll see this change. This is going to actually continue to change on a week-by-week basis based on some maps. Also, another thing to mention that I didn't mention in the beginning is some maps are better suited for certain units than other maps based on the mobility of units, based on the amount of obstacles in the maps. The last map that we had before this current one, you could just run anywhere and do anything, right? But the last map, like, there was a block at the bottom, and you couldn't just keep running around in circles. Like, you'd eventually just get stuck and have to like run the opposite way to try like run around from the enemies. So certain units were were much stronger at that map than the current map, where you can just run anywhere and it looks like just a bunch of dots of things here and there, like barrels or whatever they are. But different maps favor different units more or less. And of course, we're gonna see Dark Magician Beth come into the meta, and then different things are going to lower in the list, and different things are going to be raised in the list based on the whatever new units are released, and based on whatever the arena map of each given season week actually is. So this is actually just going to keep changing and changing and changing. So things that are super OP 1 week are less. I mean, they're generally going to be like the same units like towards the top, but you're going to see some units be less effective and some units be more effective based on different things. So anyway, food for thought. But really, the biggest thing is like, who do you enjoy playing? Who do you play the best with, right? Who do you play the best with? Who do you have? Who do you have, and who do you have the exclusive weapon for? They may be the best unit for you to actually use. If you have the unit, you have upgrades on the unit, you have the exclusive weapon for the unit, because exclusive weapons are very, very strong in this game. Make units much better. I mean, units will perform very much differently if you don't have the exclusive weapons for them. So anyway, just food for thought. Again, it's going to change every week, and sometimes the best units are just whatever you have the best upgrades for, whatever you have the exclusive weapons for, and whatever you've actually summoned and you play well with, because certain units are potentially better based on your playstyle. And the more new units that the devs bring out every so often, the more we're going to see certain units rise to popularity, because they're better counters for whatever new units are out there. But anyway, that's it for this one. Food for thought. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you as always in the next one.